What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Outpost, and everyone is still talking about the fallout from The Last of Us Part 2. Fans who were looking forward to this for 7 years are in absolute shock over what has happened. We tried to warn everyone. We tried to tell everyone. That's why we're saying F Naughty Dog, because what they did to the characters and to this game. But today, we've heard some people that are coming out and saying there's a reason that you only saw good critic reviews for The Last of Us Part 2, and we're also hearing rumors about the fact that you're not able to return it at some stores because people are so worried about mass returns of this game. Let's get into it right now. You can see K-Wing or Nightwing, someone who is a YouTuber, has been around for a long time, has also been a games journalist in the past. The Last of Us 2 is a terrible game. Anyone says different is selling something. I was offered early access. I said no, because if I said it was a bad game, we'd be blacklisted. The criticism happened with Last of Us Part 2 is valid. It's not bots. Sane gamers are speaking truth. I'm okay. The game came out in June. People could lose their job over honesty and opinion if it differs from Twitter NPCs. The game is average at best. Still, this happened sometimes back in the day. I had to quit a publication job over an unfavorable review. Sometimes you just have to stand up. So there it is, someone who is actually familiar with how the early access works and says, hey, if I had gotten this and said something bad about the game, they would have blacklisted me. And when people are talking about The Last of Us 2, when people are criticizing Naughty Dog and criticizing games journalists and critics who, you hear the words, oh, the review's bought and paid for. That doesn't mean that they're literally getting money. That doesn't mean that they're literally getting perks or anything like that. What they're losing is their access to these companies. They are getting blacklisted from these developers, so they won't be the ones that will be able to get any of those early access things anymore. That's what we're talking about. We don't mean that they are literally getting money. We mean things exactly like K-Wing came out and said, that if they said anything bad about the game, they would lose that access. They would be blacklisted. And when I see things like this, right, it just reminds me of all the people that I have seen praise this game. One in particular that stands out. Now, this isn't even a tweet about his review. This is just a tweet. This is Greg Miller. Greg Miller, who is over at Kinda Funny. They run a YouTube channel over there. He was also host of EA Play Live just a couple days ago. One of the most cringe presentations I've ever seen, due in large part to Greg Miller himself. But, you see this happen. The Last of Us Part 2 is a hauntingly beautiful masterpiece that is far more than a video game. It pushes our medium forward in narrative, gameplay, and performance. It also has erotic fiction I'd very much like to purchase. At Neil Druckmann, at Holly Gross, the other writer. What are your Venmos? And a little screenshot of something from the game. Now, of course, Haley Gross replies. Neil Druckmann, I think, retweeted this at one point. But Greg Miller is someone who, that's what I'm talking about, where people are going to do these things to keep their access, to keep their reputation. They're going to go ahead and say that something's a masterpiece, even when they don't believe it. And if you don't believe me, that someone like Greg Miller wouldn't be disingenuous, or maybe I don't believe everything they say, just look at this clip from EA Play Live.
Now, from the future of rocket warfare, we head to a different kind of battle. It's the real reason I didn't get any sleep last night, and if you thought you heard sleigh bells, that's because it might as well be Christmas in June. It's finally time to talk Star Wars Squadrons. For anyone who doesn't fully grasp why I'm so excited, earlier this week, EA and Lucasfilm dropped a trailer that literally gave me all the feels, chills, joy, excitement, and then more chills on top of that. The 8-year-old in all of us is celebrating and excited. The 37-year-old man on this couch is excited.
You're telling me that this guy lost sleep over that Star Wars Squadrons trailer, where it's not, there's one shot of a character that you care about. Everyone else is just random characters you've never heard of before. And you're telling me that you feel, I have chills over chills over chills. Just stop it. That's the kind of crap we're talking about. That's the kind of crap when we say we don't believe these people. And he says sane gamers are speaking truth. Well, you can see it's climbed up a little bit, guys. There are some more positive reviews out there for the game. It's up to 3.5 now with 32,000 reviews. And as you can see, the overwhelming reviews are negative, with almost 10,000 positive reviews. Now, Neil Druckmann was very quick to point out that The Last of Us Part 2 has more reviews than The Last of Us had, and that's a game that came out in 2013 after the first 24 hours. Well, it already has more positive reviews than The Last of Us had. So if you guys are going to call out fake reviews, call them bots, all those things, you have to call out the positive ones too, because let's be real. There's review bombing going on negatively. There's also review bombing going on positively. You can't forget that. But so many people have a problem with this game. And one of the things I wanted to look at was something that I saw on Reddit. Now, again, this is on Reddit, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But I saw this post yesterday. I didn't do anything about it. More information is starting to come out. But you can see right here, this picture, The Last of Us Part 2. Dear customers, in light of recent events, we've had to change a few things. We will be temporarily suspending games trade-ins until further notice. And we apologize for any inconvenience. A lot of people were wondering, that seemed very strange that they were doing that. Was it for something like the pandemic that's going around? Is that why they decided to do this? Like I said, more information is coming out. Now, we do need to take this with a grain of salt, but this has been confirmed a lot of other places as well. This is Sausage Roll. Sausage Roll is known, it's kind of like We Got This Covered, but Australia's version of We Got This Covered. A lot of times they report BS, but sometimes they report real stuff. And here it is. People are having a difficult time playing through The Last of Us Part 2 due to some of the graphic and controversial scenes, and reportedly returning the game en masse. There are some highly controversial and graphic elements in Naughty Dog's new AAA title, The Last of Us Part 2, and a lot of people are struggling through the game after coming face to face with some of its many challenging moments. And I would say that it is graphic. There's a lot of violence, but I don't think people were not expecting that. What people were expecting, and just in case I let something slip, spoilers for the game if you don't want to be spoiled. As much as I hate Naughty Dog and what they have done to this game, I don't want to spoil it for you if you are still trying to enjoy it. So warning. People were expecting for Joel to be honored. People were expecting for Joel to be an actual part of this game, like you showed in the trailers. They weren't expecting for him to get absolutely massacred as a character and also physically by Abby in the first 2 hours of the game, and that all the interactions with Ellie would be through flashbacks. Absolutely disgusting by Naughty Dog. That is why we say F Naughty Dog. They talk about how earlier this year, Naughty Dog's president himself, Neil Druckmann, warned that it was going to be divisive. We've talked about that before. Australia's largest games retailer, JB Hi-Fi, are reportedly not accepting any more returns of The Last of Us Part 2 and have temporarily suspended trade-ins during the game's release. And that's the same picture that we just talked about. We've reached out for comment regarding the temporary suspension of trade-ins, as we understand that the temporary ban may, in fact, be put in place during lockdown to stop the spread of the nasty virus. However, this is the first time people have reported seeing this sign, and it was only posted on The Last of Us Part 2 display. And people have claimed JB Hi-Fi has not been accepting trade-ins, or have been accepting trade-ins during the lockdown. So it would be a special thing just for this game. And it's not a surprise to me that that would happen, to be quite honest with you. Because one of the people on Geeks and Gamers team with myself is Mark the Cyborg. Mark the Cyborg did have this game pre-ordered. When all of this stuff came out, when Naughty Dog started striking our channels, Mark the Cyborg tried to cancel his pre-order. And he had to get on the phone 3 different times, got disconnected each and every time before he was finally able to cancel his pre-order. Was that a coincidence? It could be a coincidence. Or was it the fact that they are trying to prevent mass pre-order cancellations, and now they're trying to prevent mass returns? That is not a surprise to me. Is this true? Again, this is Sausage Roll, but I've seen it around a lot. It makes complete sense from everything that I've seen people talking about on Reddit, and also here, it all kind of makes sense with each other. Not a surprise that this game is just getting absolutely wrecked for good reason. We know that the choices they have made in order to subvert our expectations and shock you, which is all people care about when it comes to telling a story now, they did that instead of do a good continuation of these characters' stories. And at the end of the day, it's all for nothing. Revenge. Revenge is bad, guys, but let's just make you try to take revenge and then not actually finish the deed. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. If you want to say F Naughty Dog, check out the pinned comment below where you can get your merch. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.